Well, hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we are live on a Friday evening, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with life. And today, as usual, we're talking about how do I use this week's leftover vegetables and anything else to the best advantage. You know, we're all struggling with a budget that we are finding is not going as far as it used to. So it's really important that we remember the old um, lessons that were taught to us by our parents. And I'm really am aware that the weather's getting suddenly a lot cooler. I noticed that it's quite amazing how cool the night it was last night. And so this is a good time to start thinking about soups again. So two things that for those of you who are regulars, you will know I've got lots of color here because the more color we have in our food, the healthier it is for us. And I've got all sorts of options in terms of what we're going to do. So a very warm welcome to you all, and hi there to Iz. Good to see you, Iz, and also to Charlotte and Karen. Good to see you as well. So thank you for being here, and let's enjoy some soup this evening. So if you remember, I'm trying to use up vegetables from my deep freeze here in the kitchen because this deep freeze is full and so is my big one. So I'm now systematically working through the stuff in this freezer, trying to eat it up so that I can bring food from my other freezer through. And just, each month try and bring the food that I will want for that month. That's the goal. But first I have to empty this freezer. And so isn't that wonderful? And Charlotte's outside enjoying a lemon lime. I don't know what a radler is. I'm sure you will tell me. I am not educated in that. By the way, I'm so proud of myself. For any of you who can relate to this, I put a new SD card into my phone today, and I don't know if any of you relate to it, but those SD cards are not made for people with arthritis and a little bit of a tremor. I absolutely dropped this stupid thing so many times on the floor. It was so funny. You would have really loved to watch me. But I did manage to get it in, and that is awesome. All right, so Charlotte's saying a radler is beer with lemon lime in it. Okay, so it's like a shandy. I love a shandy, which is beer, 7-Up, and then, a slice of lime in it sometimes. So that's awesome. I know how good that tastes. All right, everybody, so here we go. The first thing I want to talk about is what I do during the week. I have a big mason jar that I keep in my fridge, and every time I use my fry pan or any other pan, and I've got interesting bits at the bottom, I just put a little bit of water in it while I eat my dinner, and then by the time I've eaten my dinner, I just stir it around, and I have got stock. And I keep that stock specially for soup. I just wrote on there and then I turned it off again. Brilliant. So, brilliant. So, all the time I have got, I'll try that one more time. All right. All the time I have got this jar that has got good juices in it. Let's put it that way. Now, I've got another one where I put bits of gravy and stuff in there. If I got leftover gravy, if I made something, or a leftover sauce that looks interesting. And so I keep sort of adding little bits to things, all right? But you can see by putting it in the fridge, can you see how much fat has floated to the top and solidified? So the first thing that I do before I use it is just to take my nutbag sieve, as I call it, very fine, and that will take out the majority of the fat. Now, we don't want it all gone necessarily because that adds to flavor as well, but I'm going to be adding some. First of all, some of the fat will go through, but also I'm going to be adding some meat to it. So the meat will have some fat in it as well. But what I'm trying to do is not have too much, right? Because we're trying to eat more healthily. So that's the first thing we're going to do. I've got, these were some of the vegetables I pulled out of my vegetables to be used up. I've got marrow, a little bit of broccoli, I think a little bit of cheese sauce in there. I've got marrow is zucchini, sorry. I'll always call it marrow. A little bit of onion, but I want, oh, and some spaghetti squash, right? That's what it is, spaghetti squash in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more to it. Because this is how we're going to get our vegetables for the week without really noticing it too much. And I'm just going to take my mandolin and I've already got some celery in there, so we're just going to add a bit more celery. Okay. That's good. Now, I've got some carrot, and the carrot is a little bit, ideal for soup. So I'm just going to chop that up into little bits. Add that in. Now remember, the goal here is to use up the end of the week vegetables. My new vegetables will arrive tomorrow, my fresh vegetables. So that's good. I've got some tomatoes. I'm going to add those in. Now, I've still got some carrot left, and this carrot is still pretty strong. This one is pretty weak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this up and then hydrate it. Ready for more soups in the winter. Or rather dehydrate it rather than hydrate it. So try not to throw things out if you don't have to. Now you're probably wondering, what does it look like after you've dehydrated it? It looks horrid. But the funny thing is, I want to show you. One way to show you, isn't there? I'll just put a couple of pieces in so you can see when you put them in and let them hydrate again. This will take a couple of, take about an hour. But once it's hydrated again, it's just a regular carrot. Just looks strange. Oops. It's good. And then I'm going to add some orange pepper. I'm trying to check that I've got enough colors going in here. Again, I've got fresh peppers coming tomorrow, so I can use this up. Oh, I'm going to put it in. I was going to dehydrate it, but I've got more carrot that I can do that for. Okay. So now we've got all sorts of color, and we like that. All right, now let me see what the comment is here. Jody's saying, I made a salad of chopped cabbage, poppy seed dressing, chopped apples, and dried papaya with cashews. Yep, absolutely. I like making a cabbage salad because the cabbage will stay in the fridge much longer than a lettuce, unless you know how to store romaine lettuce. I can keep romaine lettuce for a month. Amazing. All right, now I've also got some of my homegrown potatoes. So I thought what I would do is to add a little potato in there. And we don't want it to turn color, so I'm immediately going to put that in with the... I just leave the skin on. It's all good fiber. There we go. So put those away. Now, what am I going to do with this? You know, I'm going to dry it and then use the seeds for my peppers. Mind you, I've probably got enough to start a pepper farm. All right, let's put that away. So the question is, what do you do with your leftover fat? I keep mine in a silicone mold in the fridge. And then once I've got it full, I take it over to my friend next door who makes bird seed treats out of it. So no waste of good fat here. All right, so now then, what have I got? Oh, yeah, that's hydrating, so you can see it. I'm also going to add in a little bit of dehydrated pepper, green onion, and a little bit of dehydrated leeks. It's getting back to leek season again, so I'm going to enjoy getting... I've got 4 leeks growing in my garden that I grew from the bottom of leeks last year, and they're just about ready for me to harvest. So, and then I will replant the bottom of them again. Why not? All right, so now we've got all sorts of good stuff there. So in here we've got the dried and the potato, and we also need some, there we go. I'm going to put in a little bit of parsley, dried parsley. What else shall we do? Salt and pepper. Actually, I'm not going to put salt in. I am going to put pepper in. Pepper's very good for us. We know that. And I'm going to put in a little bit, just a teaspoon of dried onion soup mix. The reason I like to do that is, it's pretty powerful stuff. So just to put in a teaspoon per jar is a really good idea because it gives you the spices and the onion. So 2 teaspoons. And it's what I like about it is, you're not using as much. I do the same if I ever have ramen noodles. I will hold on to those seasonings and I will add little bits to my soup because it's so salty. It's not a good idea to eat it as it is. But all right, people, you saw me take that rubber band off there. What did I do with it? There it is. Yeah, so I really recommend that. And this, one packet's probably lasted me a year. And I buy it in a pack of 4 when they go on sale. And I've never had a problem. Okay, now then. Let's see what else we've got in the fridge. What have I got here? Oh, I've got some baked beans. Good idea. Why? Protein. So we'll put baked beans into one of them. Might put a bit more in later, we'll see. And then here I've got some bacon. We know that is always good. So put a little bit of bacon in both. I think bacon always gives it such great flavor. And the last thing I've got here is a little bit of steak. Now, I want to tell you how much I've changed in the last couple of years. If you had asked me a few years ago, what is a steak to me? A steak to me would be a whole strip loin, about this big. I can still get rid of one. If I go out to dinner with Dougie, he insists that I get a full-size one and I eat it. But what I noticed is I now get them, but I cut them in half. But when I actually go to eat it, I will cook it. But 9 times out of 10, I will have some of it and then leave the rest for another day or leave the rest to go on top of the salad or something. So this is some leftover steak. And I'm going to put that into the other one. Maybe a little bit of beef in both of them would be good. Why not? Now, this would be a good time for you to look at what you've got sitting in the pantry. In my pantry, I found I had some red lentils or some lentils. And by the way, you don't have to pre-cook lentils. All right? But can you see that I've rinsed it? And that's how much starch comes off them. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now, Jody is our nutrition expert. Lentils are really good for you. So always a good idea to add them. And bacon goes back in the fridge. I allow myself about 4 rashers of bacon a week. That's, I do, what do I call, meal prepping. And one of the things I have is, a couple of rashers. Normally I do 2 rashers, but if I'm going to cook soup or something as well, I allow myself 4 because I know the soup I will eat over the course of a few days. All right. Yeah, Isabel's saying that she can't have cooked bacon near her because she will just eat it. I was the same, but I've now learned if I don't eat it all, I can enjoy it all during the week. That's why I keep it in a jar, and sometimes I'll just crumble some over a salad, or if I just feel like eating a couple of bits, I will. But that's how I do it. So we've got just about everything there now. So let's put in some vegetables. Now the zucchini is big, so I'm just going to cut that up. I'm going to make more than that. Have I got another jar here? Yep. Now, remembering that we have not bought any vegetables for this, right? It's just leftover in the freezer or leftover at the end of the week. Now, I think I've also got some, I've got a mixture of a little bit of quinoa and a little bit of pearl barley here. All good grains. And now we're going to top it up with some liquid. You know what I'm thinking? I think I'm going to huck it all into here and let it cook in there, and then I'll put it back. We now know it's enough for that amount. So I'm going to let it all cook together. Plan B. Now, one of the things I love about cooking in the air fryer is that what would normally take a really long time to cook, of course, doesn't in the air fryer. So I'm going to put the lid on it and just let it cook slowly. Now, it should cook within about the hour, I think. And if it doesn't, we'll find out, and I'll just put it back for a bit more. There it is. Now, wait a minute. Something else I wanted to add. A little bit of my leftover wine. How many of you know that's going to give it really nice taste? And a couple of other things. You all know I love Worcestershire sauce, so that's going to put a couple of bits of that in. And a little bit of soy sauce. I always like that in soup. Okay. And we're just going to let that cook while we chat. Now, I've intentionally not put too much liquid on there. Now, the reason is this. By the time it's all cooked, the vegetables will absorb some of that liquid, and I will end up with a very tasty amount of vegetables. Does that make sense? Then whether I want to turn them into soups or just have a spoon or two of them during the week, that is my choice. Now, sometimes I will have those vegetables, and I'll put them over some rice, for example. Hi, Autumn, good to see you. Or I'll take those vegetables and maybe, allow myself pasta one meal a week. So maybe this week's pasta will be like a primavera. I'll just throw that mixture of all of those goodies in there over some noodles. Does that make sense? So to me, it's a very exciting way to make sure that I've got enough vegetables for the week, and I haven't bought them, right? They're just left over. Now, also, that I can make a cheese sauce and just put cheese sauce over them and then make mac and cheese with vegetables, if I want to do that for the pasta dish. Am I making any sense here? I can also take those vegetables and put them in the blender and then add them to my dough to make my pitas. Now, this week I didn't make vegetable pitas because I was making some for Yvonne and Wade. But, I allow myself a pita every day. And these are whole grain with flax seeds and chia seeds, and got rye flour, it's got whole wheat flour and a little bit of whatever. But I want to tell you, it's a really good idea. I did it the other week and I really love them. You don't notice the vegetables, but it's another way of getting a serving of vegetables. By the way, if you've got children, a great way of hiding vegetables, because children will eat the pita without realizing that it's got vegetables in it. So just remember that, all right? So there we go. Pretty easily done. So I'm going to tidy up a bit here. And remember that everything that I did here was basically left over for the week. I was saying at lunchtime today that these are my new potatoes out of my garden. So such fun. And I find those egg cartons are really good for putting in tomatoes or small vegetables, because it absorbs the moisture. If they're giving off any moisture, then it absorbs it. It's a great way of keeping them for a long time. So now, obviously, I'm going to have baked beans on pita bread one day this week. Probably have baked beans on half a pita bread, and then have the other half as a what do you call it? An open sandwich, smorgasbord type thing. You can start seeing that's coming together nicely. All right, let me put these away. Now the other nice one. So the other thing that you can do with those vegetables, and I'm pretty certain that you all do this, which is, what about one day this week if I have a farmer's omelette? All right. I've got a little bit of meat, a little bit of lentil, I've got a little bit of vegetable in there. Just take 1 tablespoon and mix it in with a couple of eggs and make a farmer's omelette. And, probably put some little bit of chili powder or something in it to give it a kick, and it'll be a very tasty meal. Plus, remember, it's got good stuff in it, right? It's got some lentils, it's got some quinoa, it's got some pearl barley, lots of healthy grains in there. Yeah, it's got a little bit of potato, but you got to live. And it's got bacon. All right, I'm just cleaning up so that I can do the next thing. Remind me to show you the carrots before I go. Now, the other thing is, how do you hide your fruit? Some of us, I actually am pretty good now. I've got myself down to this daily routine of what fruits I eat at what time of the day. But I still don't get enough fruit in, and we know it's good for us. So today what we're going to do is to make some more muffins. And I've got a pretty sad looking banana that came out of the fridge. And that can go in. And I finished a jar of applesauce. All right. So what I did was I just put a little bit of water in there to get the last of the applesauce out. So there we go. We've got some applesauce in there. A little bit more, I think, can come out of there. So think about that. What other jars could you empty into some muffins? All right. So it's a really good thing to get into the habit of doing. There we go. And we're just going to mush that all up. If I can find, there we go. put a little bit of lemon juice in there so the banana doesn't turn a horrible color. Just mix that up a bit more because we've got apple and banana in there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just use up, I've got some carrot cake, carrot muffin mix here. So I'm going to throw some of that in. Now, the trick is it's a muffin doesn't want to be too mixed, but on the other hand, you want to absorb the moisture. So let's see how I do. Yeah, it's still going to be a little bit too runny. So we need some more. What else have I got? Ah, that will do. So now I've got some oatmeal muffin mix, and we'll add that in as well. Of course, I could have just put in oats. Now I'm also going to throw in, all right, what we're trying to do is to make these so that we eat vegetables without realizing it. So I'm going to throw in some raisins. And also some cranberries. Wow. I had more juice than I thought I did, but that's okay. It's looking better. Okay, so as you can see now, it is just about what I call muffin consistency. Now, anything else that we can throw in there? I think I'm going to add some extra cinnamon and some extra allspice. Why? Very good for us, right? Some allspice and some extra cinnamon. All right, Jody, tell us all again about cinnamon and allspice and things like that. All right, very good for our metabolism. Very good. All right, we got lots of oats in there, good for our digestion. We've got fruit in there, good for our digestion. Lemon juice is an anti-inflammatory. Cinnamon is great for blood sugar control. See, lots of good stuff. Now, I've got enough there to make muffins for the month. And so, what do? We get smart. I'm going to make 6 muffins for this week. Now, I didn't add any sugars into here. It's got enough in the mix, I'm sure. Oops. All right, so Jody is letting us know. Here we go. Hi, Chillis. Good to see you. Jody is saying allspice may include its ability to act as a pain reliever, increase circulation, protect the gastrointestinal system, improve the mood, boost the immune system, and lower blood pressure. So you understand, just adding a bit extra cinnamon and a bit extra allspice and some lemon juice, anti-inflammatory, all make it a healthier muffin. But how many of you know we're not going to taste? It's not going to taste like a healthy muffin. It's going to taste like a treat. So those are my 6 muffins, and what I'm going to do is put the rest into this awesome container. Really tastes good. Now, what am I going to do with these? I've got choices. Okay. I can either freeze them and bring it out and make a couple of muffins from it, or even, think about this, I can freeze them, bring it out, and then chop it into cookies. Make sense? Or I could just cook them up as mini loaves and have a slice of it every night with my stuff, right? So the whole point is all leftovers sitting in the pantry, time to use it up. Didn't buy anything. It's all leftover stuff. I'm going to put the muffins in and let them cook because we want to see them, right? Well, I do. I want to have one of those tonight. So I'm going to turn that heat down to about 375, and we'll give it about 15 minutes might do it. We'll find out. Normally a muffin takes how long? About 20 minutes, I think. Oops. So $400 for how long? 18 to 20 minutes, yes. So I've put them in at 375 for 15 minutes in the air fryer. I think that would do it. And I've still got leftovers. So I will be continuing to do this process, sorry. But we finished one bag. That's good. Yay. And these, I think I had left over for the fire. So, you know, it's time to use them up, no doubt about it. There we go. I'll put those in the freezer later. But you understand how many options I've got, all right? I can freeze it, thaw it, and make more muffins. I can freeze it in here and just cook it in here as a loaf, a mini loaf, and then slice it with some homemade butter. Or, you know, it's just like lots of options. But what I've done is I know it's got lots of fruit in it. It's got lots of, it's got keratin in it as well. You know, lots of good fiber in there. Any questions? You're probably asking, Sal, what do you put on top of your muffins? Well, sometimes I cheat and put some brown sugar on top as I cook them. But I haven't done that today. And the reason is in my fridge, I'm trying to use up some creamy cream cheese frosting. So that's going to be my treat tonight. Pretty easy, pretty simple to do. I'm going to put this soup into my microwave. No, don't think I'm going to run the microwave and the air fryer at the same time. No, that would not be a good idea. But what I wanted to show you basically is think soups. Now, it's getting cooler, right? Kimmy said it's down to 56 outside. It was close to that. It was definitely that last night here in British Columbia, Kimmy. So whatever that cold spell that's coming through at night, but it was beautiful during the day. It was really quite warm. So what I'm doing, and I was talking about that at lunchtime, what I'm doing is I'm starting to bring in some of my more tender plants. First of all, the impatiens are coming in. And I'm going to try and keep those alive over the winter. We'll see if it works. It's an experiment, you know me. And then also tomorrow, I'm probably going to bring my very pretty red petunia. I got a red petunia plant. And I understand you can bring that inside over the winter. Did you know that? But you just have to be careful with it. And I will tell you more about that when I've got it inside and growing. I think I might do the same as I've been doing with other things. I might actually take it out of the earth and wash off the roots and then grow it hydroponically. Right. So, Chillis, where are you that it was 90 degrees Fahrenheit today? By the way, I've noticed that I've got a little bit of a chest thing going on at the moment. I'm running a bit of a temperature and I'm wheezing a bit. So tonight I'm going to have to take some stuff. In Louisiana, it was 90 today. How about that? Wow. So we're getting winter coming in, or definitely getting fall coming in, and you've still got midsummer. But when we don't get your hurricanes and floods. Whereabouts in Louisiana? North, east, south, or west? It's an interesting thing. It's still one of those places I have yet to visit, and there are a couple of places I still want to go to in my lifetime. Wow, Kimmy's saying it snowed up north in Wyoming and in Montana. Wow. So you're from the Northeast. All right. So, you know what winter's all about then. I must admit that I could feel it. You know where I could feel it? I could feel it inside. Um, I could feel it at floor level. And I noticed that, yeah, I zeroed out my thermometer to see what the lowest temperature was in the house overnight, and it was 63 inside the house. So, and it's now 76 inside the house, right? So we've been cooking and stuff, but it's dropped down to 63 Fahrenheit, which for those of you who don't speak American, is about 17 degrees. It dropped to 17 degrees inside. At what temperature do you put on your heating? So maybe that's another discussion. How many of you have got air conditioners? Yeah, Chillis is saying that recently went up to Oregon. It's much cooler, even in summer, and I'm a lot farther north than Oregon, obviously. But I am just about on the border of Canada and the US, so it's just over there. When it's 40 inside the house or outside? Jody's saying the heat goes on when it's 40. Yeah, October is when I normally put mine on as well. Around about now, but I did notice, and I was saying this at lunchtime, I did notice yesterday morning when I got up, I could feel, the chill. And I actually went and got a tracksuit top and put it on. And, that surprised me because the house hadn't had a chance to warm up. All right. Chillis is saying you don't need to put the heat on until late November. Yeah, well, aren't you lucky? But you're running air conditioners until when? It's like, it's one of the things, I was talking about with Dougie, who comes from Kenya originally. He and I were saying we are blessed that we can take more heat than most people because we lived in Africa. But it also means that we feel the cold more than most people. So it's like a catch-22. We don't need to put the air conditioning on. My air conditioner only kicks in at about 78. It has to get 78 inside the house before the air conditioner will start. And, whereas I know some of you have that kicking in at 70 or maybe less. I don't know. So and what temperature does your air conditioner kick in at? Let's find out where everybody has their sip. Yeah, so Chillis is saying that's right. Air conditioning from March to November. And sometimes it snows here. We had a big storm a while back. Yep, so it's amazing, isn't it? So, if you're not spending the electricity on the air conditioner, you're spending it on the heater. So that's the way or on the gas fireplace or whatever you have. All right, and Kimmy's saying it's been so hot here, and now it's cooler. It's supposed to go back to heat again on Monday, they said. Okay, so that's good to know. I haven't checked this week's temp. Oh, yes, this week is going to be, we still are not having any rain this week. That's quite incredible. Right, so that's the whole thing. At what temperature, you're saying about 45 or so Fahrenheit, you start thinking about putting the heat in. Is that 45 outside? It's about what temperature is it inside your house that you turn it on. I think mine's set to kick in at about the low 60s, I think. If it gets to low 60, so it could kick in any day now at night with what's happening here. However, during the day, it's still warm enough that I keep once it heats up, uh, then I open the doors and still have fresh air coming through my house all day. And then, round about the time that I can feel the difference at my foot level, then I close the doors and just let it do that. So, all right. So Chillis is saying it's super humid where she is. It feels like it rained every day. Yes, that's horrible, isn't it? Well, it is what it is, right? And it's going to get worse, people. So I tell you something, I did not regret buying an air conditioner this year. All right. Because as you know, I was new to this house and I had no idea what it would do in the summer or the winter. And boy, I found out in 1 year that I needed an air conditioner. And I didn't put one in the window that was going to rattle and shake. I bought a mobile one, and boy, am I pleased with what it did. It really did a great job. Now, the question I have is, because I've never had a mobile one, when you unplug yours, when you decide, okay, that's it, summer's over, what do you do? Just so that I know what to do. I get a feeling that I should probably take the big fat hose that goes out of the window and put that in a bath of disinfectant water. Would that be the right thing to do? Really get any bacteria out of it that might be in there. Plus the vent where it goes out. I was thinking I'd just run a bath and put some Lysol or something in the bath water and let it soak. But then I'm going to wheel. I'm so glad that I did this. When I built my wall-to-wall shower in my bathroom, right, what I did, this is my shower. What I did was I had a very small lip on it. All right. It's only about a 1-inch lip along here. And the reason for that is because I was getting old and doddery, and if I had a walker, I wanted to be able to get into the shower easily. However, what I found out is that I can now wheel my air conditioner all the way to the shower and then take out the bottom plug and let it drain. Very clever. So what else do I need to do? Those of you who've got portable air conditioners, once I've drained it, how long do I need to leave it open for? And is there anything else I should do? How do you clean the whirly bit? I've never had one of these before. So I'm a great believer in getting advice. And by the way, if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to leave me hints on what you do. Because some of you have got a lot of experience with these things. I don't. I live. Can you hear me? Whoa. Anyway, so I lived 17 years in Africa without air conditioning. I wonder what it's like down that way at the moment. Bad, I would imagine. Okay, so Jody, I think we've got similar ones, right? So yours is self-contained except for the filter and 2 hoses. So what do you do with your hoses? Do you wash them out and let them air dry, or what do you do at the end of the air conditioning season? And the filter, I presume you take that out and disinfect that as well. Don't let me put words in your mouth. Let me listen for a change. Kimmy, before I put my fan away, I've also got a fan in my craft room because that is the coolest one. And then what I do is before I put it away for the winter, I take the grid off it and I clean the blades and everything and disinfect everything before I put it away for the winter. Oh, interesting. Jody, now you tell me. Jody said we rinse them and air dry. Filter gets washed weekly. That was something you didn't tell me before. Was I meant to be doing that? I suppose I should have read the instructions. Why would I read instructions when I got Jody in my life? She tells me everything I need to know. It's just like that. I didn't get that bit of information. All right, so all right, I failed air conditioning 101, but I now know. So that's okay. So I'll take the filter off the back and then just drop it in the water when I disinfect everything else, right? And then I just let them air dry. I'll probably just put them out on the deck and let them air dry. Be interesting to see how dirty the water is. Kimmy's saying she needs to get a furnace checked. That's a good idea, right? How many of you? And now mine was checked obviously after the fire, so I know that my furnace is okay, and my fireplace is good. So that was one of the things. How often do you check your furnace? And how many of you bleed your hot water heater? When I say bleed it, hot water heater's got a little tab at the bottom. And the idea is that you should put a bowl underneath it and then just release some of the water. Do you know why? There's a really good reason for it. The reason is if your hot water heater is starting to rust, the water will be rusty and you will know that it's time to buy a new heater. Does that make sense? Somebody told me that. Do I do it? No. I know I didn't know it either. I haven't done it. So do you know what I mean? It's got like a little flip switch. And Jody's saying the landlord has to do that in the building, right? So that's his responsibility, not yours. So yeah, all things to think out. Anything else that we do in the fall ready for the winter? Anything else? We might as well get the list going now. Muffin check time, people. How do they look? All right, do they look good? Oh, so happy with those. Yum. No, what I want. This is what I want. They do look good, don't they? They might need a little bit more now that I look at it. Yeah, they might need just a tad more. They're done on the top, but the sides look like they might need a bit more. It's coming out pretty clean. Yeah, just a bit more. Okay, we can do that. Hope I didn't burn them now. But how many of you know I'm going to have a really fun dinner tonight? I'm going to have muffins with cream cheese topping. And then a bit later on, I will have soup and a pita. Because you see, the good news that I found is when you know what you're allowed to eat in a day, it doesn't matter when you eat them. I can have, cereal at night if I want to. And I can have, and that's where it gets to be fun. So I'm going to start my, I haven't eaten yet today. Have I? Oh, I did. I had that I have grapes and cheese and crackers. I was showing you that at lunchtime. So I did have those. So that was normally my late night meal. So now I'm going to have the reverse of dinner. I'm going to start with the muffins, my breakfast, and then I'm going to have some soup later on while I'm binge watching. So anyway, I hope you understand two things. Number one, when you are struggling to eat on a budget, make sure you don't waste food. All right? Seriously, do not waste food. I believe that we waste more food than we need to feed a whole other nation. All right? And I say we, but in Canada or in the States, all right? The amount of food we throw away. First of all, we buy too much, we eat too much, and we throw away too much. I am now down to, I'm so proud of myself, I've nearly cleared my fridge of Pasteur experiments, right? I'm now every week, I'm trying to get to the point that by the end of the week, there is nothing left in my fridge for me to throw out. And what I notice is, Jody, you really changed my life with that milk thing, all right? Okay, so get this filtered milk stuff. What is it called? Ultra filtered milk. I can buy milk once a month. All right. It's amazing. Milk, if you get milk to go, that is 1%, I think. I buy that as well. And I've had it in the house for nearly a year. And it's still unopened and it's still good when I open it. And I use it for smoothies sometimes. Now, the other thing I use for smoothies, another way of eating our vegetables, is I buy these Tetra Packs in 12 at a time. All right. And as long as you haven't opened it, it's good. Now, it has a best buy date on it, but you know what I found? It's the, all right, you've never seen almond milk. Oh, sorry. I probably had the French version facing you. You've never had almond milk? Really great in smoothies. Really great in smoothies. Today, I had a mixture of almond milk and I had some buttermilk left over from when I was making butter. So, the mixture of the two. But what I really like is I no longer throw milk away. I haven't thrown milk away since I started buying this. And Jody, what I do is I sort of buy them in rotation. I'll buy one full 3.25% milk, and then one 2%, and I sort of mix them through. That's why I stopped buying it. Kimmy's saying the milk here goes bad within a week. So I quit buying it and went to powder. I have powder milk. I use that for my lattes. But I want to tell you, if you can find this, it's slightly more expensive, Kimmy, but it lasts, it lasts for the longest time. All right. And the almond milk as well, right? That is expensive. That's why I don't use it a lot. I just add a little bit in with stuff, all right? But I've got to tell you something, Kimmy. I tell you what I definitely have noticed. I am throwing away about a quarter, if that. I would say a quarter of what I was throwing away 6 months ago, right? Because each time I look at what am I throwing away, what did I not dehydrate, or hydrate, dehydrate. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you that. All right, so these carrots have been in here for just an hour, right? And obviously, I would normally cook them for longer, but I want to remind you, they started off because they were dehydrated, looking yucky. And now they're back to orange carrots. Isn't that amazing? Now, they haven't properly hydrated yet, but they're half hydrated. So they got the color back. Isn't that amazing? And by the way, you can eat them as a snack. I know. Wow. And what do they taste like? Carrots. Surprising, really. So, you know the end of a carrot that you normally throw away? Chop it up. How do I dehydrate? Probably is another question. I'm not using electricity. At the moment, I'm putting them in brown paper bags and hanging them in a sunny window. All right, that's how I'm doing and then every day I just go and shake it a bit and put it back again. So I'm doing it in the sun. You could do it out on the deck if you've got a deck, just keep it. The main thing is to keep it wrapped I use sandwich bags so the bugs can't get to it. Does that make sense? Works beautifully. 3 more minutes until I can get my So what else am I going to have tonight? I could have a salad. Oh, I've got some beetroot and feta salad that I'm going to have as part of my my dinner. I've got these things that I'm allowed, and I'm just using up what's left in the fridge before the new stuff arrives. So what I was saying is every week I look to see what am I dehydrating, and if it's like I've got carrots coming in, but I've managed to use a lot of them, but that means I'm buying too many. Does that make sense? And once a month I will buy a whole bunch of celery, but then I have to consciously eat a lot of celery, which I know is good for me. Lots of fiber and lots of water. But then sometimes I will just buy 3 or 4 sticks because I get tired of eating the celery, and I end up, to me that's a waste when I'm doing that. I'm eating it because I have to, not because I want to. So really, it's done pretty well. How are we doing on time? Any minute. So there we go. Anybody else? How are you doing? Those of you who weren't here at lunchtime, any comments about the passing of the Queen just before I finish? And if you're interested, I did a whole broadcast at lunchtime today. It's on the DearMamaSal website. And what I tried to do is to find some fun facts about the Queen that you might not know. Not the ones that everybody else is talking about necessarily on the news channels. I tried to find some fun facts and things that, Isabel's saying, I thought of you when I heard the news. I found it interesting. We had one guy that came in at lunchtime, and obviously he's a regular listener because of what he said, but he said he really wanted to hear my views because he knew I would have an interesting angle. I was quite flattered by that. And I hope I did. For those of you who were there, I hope you enjoyed and chuckled at a few things because, the Queen really did have a wonderful sense of humor. And I certainly didn't know what her nightcap was every night, and that surprised me. And one of her, actually two of her hobbies totally blew my mind. I had no idea. We all knew she had riding as a hobby, but there were two others that I was really stunned with. So you look at it and you go, oh, I know what I didn't mention. Did you know that she created a dog breed? Yeah, Jodie's saying it was interesting, all the facts that I presented. Right? Did you know, and I forgot to mention that at lunchtime, do you know that she actually created a dog breed? She had the corgis, and was it Princess Anne that had Dachshunds? And two of them got together. And so they produced the Dorkies. D-O, I think it's called a Dorkie, a cross between a Dachshund and a Corgi. And they carried on creating them. It's now a dog breed. You go, she was up to all sorts of stuff when we weren't watching, And I think I really have to say that in a way, I feel quite sorry for Prince Charles. I think, he's going to have to give up a life that he's created for himself. Yes, she's had a rose named after her. Right. And all right. And, but it's amazing how many people have had roses named after them, isn't it? I haven't had one named after me. I'll have to change that. Maybe I need to cultivate a rose just so that I haven't got that far in my experiments yet. Let's see if the cookies are good. You know what I mean. Oh, they smell so good. Okay, so now the tops are a little bit crispy, which is fine. Let's make sure that they're good. Oh yeah, it definitely feels a lot stronger. Now then, how do I get them out of here? There's the thing. Oh, we want to put this back. Soup. Yeah, that looks a lot stronger. I'm going to need something to help me here. Oh, hot. Of course it's hot. It's got fruit in it, you silly thing. Now, the reason I want to get them out is I need them to cool a bit so I can put the good stuff on them. No, don't even try that. Oh, we left a bit of that one. Oh, nice tasty bits. Oh my gosh, a couple of them broke. That means they will cool more quickly. Oh, interesting. My grandmother collects the roses named after the royal family. That must be quite a collection. Isn't that interesting? That's a good hobby to have, especially if you like roses. All right, people, you know what I'm trying to do here. Yeah, good. I can touch those. That's what I wondered. Uh-oh, wrong thing. So indulgent. Here we go. Joking. Mm. Mm. And surprise, I didn't put too much cinnamon and I didn't put too much allspice. Just right. For those of you who like specula, I thought it might end up tasting like that, but it doesn't. Mm. All right, people. Considering that what we did was use up stuff in the pantry, I have to tell you they are really tasty. Let me tell you how tasty they are. Now, you all know that I'm diabetic, right? Or rather, I keep my diabetes under control without medication, and I have icing. They are sweet enough because I got fruit in them. Yeah? And the icing is the sugar, right? So, but here's what I've learned. What I've learned is I can have this as long as I spend the rest of the evening drinking a lot of liquid because it will flush out of my body. My 5.9 A1C, for those of you who understand that lingo, tells you that I've been diabetic without insulin or without medication of any sort for 6 years. And how? I eat a lot less, but I still eat good stuff. But I don't do this every day, right? I probably haven't had these for a couple of months. And it's full. I'm allowed to have them. And what am I going to have for dinner? Think about that. Soup. Lots of vegetables. Right? I'm not having a whole lot of potato or a lot of rice or a lot of pasta, right? I choose my combination quite well. Thanks to Jody. How many of you can tell that this is a horrible muffin? My mom is turning over in her grave because I'm talking with my mouth full, but get over it. Izzy, if you're still there, I'm going to have to put those away because I will just keep eating like that because it's so good. So I will allow myself two. How many of you going? That sounded like three, so yeah. Well, I know that two would not probably do me a lot of harm. Oh, it's good for me. It's fruit. Think about it. Using up scraps that I didn't want. All right, everybody. I enjoyed that. This is DearMamaSal saying, rethink soups, By the way, one of the things I do just before I forget about it, if I'm cutting up vegetables, when you're cutting up broccoli, you probably have the top end of the broccoli, right? What do you do with the bottom end? I cut mine up and put it in a bag called soup bits. Do you understand? Don't waste anything because it's in a soup. It still tastes great. It's really important to think about how much food are you throwing away just because. All right? You only eat the top end of the broccoli, keep the bottom end to make soup. So look after your budget by not throwing as much away. Don't buy as much and use it better. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, love you dearly. We can do this together and we can learn to cope together. We'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye for now. Thanks, Jody, for all your help, by the way. And nice to see you, Chillis. Come back soon. Yeah, don't try. Chillis, do not try. Just come back. Bye for now.